Welcome back to Lawyers and Libations with Sarah and Rebecca, episode 10.
Hello, hello.
We have made it to episode 10. Who knew?
I mean, we've gone viral on a couple of weird things.
We have gone viral.
Sarah's cussing.
I actually, yes. So as if you all have listened to any of our podcasts in the past, already you know that one of my favorite words is fuck. And apparently there are some pearl clutching men and women out there that are in their, generally I would say probably mid-60s, early 70s that are outraged by my language.
The men are very offended. I'm like, calm
They're very
down,
judgmental.
boys. I don't think they like women that A, are assertive or loud, or that B, cuss. Like, I think it's intimidating, maybe.
They definitely don't like that. They would like women to be at home baking pies. Sadly, I am not the best pie baker. I'm a pretty good cook, but I would prefer to be a lawyer and say the word fuck more. So
cheers to that.
Cheers to that. They can suck it. So yes, we did go viral on a couple of things, but I'll tell you the most odd feeling ever is having number one, having a complete group of strangers, attack you or criticize you for your language or whatever it may be, which I have pretty thick skin. So I was like, well, that was rude, Sue, you little bitch. But then to have an entire group of people that I don't even know rise to my defense. I've never seen the defensive men and women that were like, oh, welcome. Is today your first day on the internet, Sue?
Oh, yeah. That was definitely our generation and younger that were like, seriously, guys, everybody drops the F-bomb.
Yes.
Like, my 6-year-old drops the F-bomb.
I had a lot of people that's...
I mean, he shouldn't, but he definitely
I'm working on that with my daughter because shockingly enough, she has taken some of that on from me, and I have to explain to her that she cannot just casually drop cuss words into conversations like I do, because it's going to happen whenever she is, around other people's parents or on the soccer field.
Right.
Which
Red
would be
card.
highly inappropriate. So I've, do as I say, not as I do. But it was fascinating to see some of the stuff that was said in my defense. I was so proud. I was like, go get him, internet.
It definitely rallied. There's a big hashtag Team Sarah.
It was.
It's okay to cuss group now.
It was really sweet. There was some guy. So at some point in time, I had this idea after reading some of these really mean comments, like on the Jimmy Kimmel show. They do, he'll have famous people read off tweets, right? That are like the meanest things somebody on Twitter said about them, like over the past month or 2 months or something. And they're like outrageous. Like he'll handle it to Billie Eilish or something, and she'll read it and it'll be like, don't we think Billie Eilish just looks like a shorter Pete Davidson with long hair or something fucked up like that, right? And they get to read it like brand new on the spot on camera, and they look up and they're like, good God, that's not nice at all.
Maybe we should do that.
That's what
I probably don't want to know. That one guy got so mad and made it sound like we were bad moms.
Oh.
I may kill him.
Well, yes. So there was some dick who said, whenever we were talking about George jumping out of the window because he didn't get Lucky Charms, he was very angry,
right,
as many 5, 6-year-old boys are if they don't get exactly what they want when they want it. And he made some asshole comment that was like,
great parenting, ladies. Or
oh, yeah, women these days, they just don't make them like they used to. Completely incompetent and something like that. And so I had to respond to that because I was like, I'll fucking flay you alive, right? So I wrote back something like, trying to decide if I'm going to let the internet handle you or if we should go ahead and start a conversation about your penis size now. I'm just curious. I mean, which one should we start discussing?
I hope that made him feel so much better.
Micro penis, for sure.
Definitely.
So, there's a lot of internet trolls. But for the most part, it's entertaining as shit. But I am going to come up with some things that people have written on some of our stuff that are not the most flattering and not very nice. But I'm also, that we can read aloud, but especially the ones in defense of us, because go get them, tigers.
Let's do that. Maybe, how about we got a few coming up we need to film. How about episode 12?
Yeah.
We can fresh from vacation. Let's do a funniest comments.
Let's go at it.
Meanest. We could rank them, like funniest, meanest.
Yeah.
and funniest responses.
Smallest penis comments ever on the internet.
With these jackasses.
Yeah. So, but we have survived to episode 10, and it's super enjoyable and lovely. So how's your summer going?
Good.
What are you doing?
You know, running around, chasing kids, vacationing, trying to play a lot of golf. It's so freaking hot.
It's hotter than the surface of the sun.
Yeah.
It's not nice out right now. You can really only golf in Georgia or like Piedmont, North Carolina, all those things, you know, like fall, winter, spring. Summer sucks.
It's awful. I do enjoy like a nice 9 holes early in the morning and just cruise right into like a light boozy lunch.
A light boozy lunch. Who doesn't love a light boozy lunch after 9 holes of golf?
Because you don't want to drink all day. You don't play 18 holes and drink when it's 100 degrees outside.
No.
I mean, that's like imminent death.
Stroke.
Yeah, so gross.
So
Can't get home.
You were in Hickory. You did play some golf.
I did. We played golf. My parents and and Ryan took our 2 boys golfing. So Hunter's 11, Georgia's 6. They'd never golfed before, like golfing light. So we were supposed to play 9 holes. 2 hours and 45 minutes into it, we were on hole 7.
Oh my God!
It was awful. My dad is lovely, but his patience for really anything is pretty limited. Particularly slow golfers.
So you married your dad?
I did. I literally
I'm
married
just curious.
my father.
I just want to bring that.
But so second hole, George, my 6-year-old, got pissed that he had a bad swing and literally takes his little mini driver and just rockets it across the
No, we did not.
course.
Has he already seen somebody do that? Like, has he seen Ryan or your dad do that before?
He has anger issues for sure. But I was like, well, there's our future golfer right there.
There you go.
So he got a spanking on the 3rd hole. By 7, my dad was like, I quit. He's like, can we just go to the clubhouse and have a beer? He's like,
miserable.
I would be done by now if I were by myself.
So it's almost like that time that we played golf down in St. Simon's and they were reseeding and they turned the sprinklers on before literally every fucking hole before we hit, they'd turn on the sprinklers. So you're like walking, like you needed duck boots to get out there.
Yeah.
And we were on like hour 5 or some shit like that when we were on hole like 16. We had to have the cart boys go pick us up booze from the liquor store.
We did. So for our listeners, it's probably my favorite golf experience. They ran out of alcohol, or they didn't run out, the bar closed because we were taking so long.
Because, you know, it's fucking midnight
and we needed refills.
Hole 16.
Yeah, it's hot. We're at the beach. We're playing golf. Like, clearly we need more booze. So we convince the cart boys.
Or the caddies.
The caddies. I give them my debit card. I'm like, can you just go get us a bunch of light beer, maybe some Fireball
shots.
I probably even asked for smokes too. I was pretty schnockered.
So, yeah.
Who knows what they bought when they ran into town?
I don't know, but I think you did say you buy your little self something too. Or something like that.
Like, whatever you want. I don't care. We just need more alcohol.
They did come back with an entire bag of shit and found us on the golf course. We were like, whew.
You know, Ryan and I are having all these budget talks right now. I wonder maybe I should look back to see if that's where the budget went off track.
That's where your Amex was spent. They were like, we'll take a photocopy of this card.
Yeah,
Thank
she was
you.
nice.
She was so nice.
And if I remember correctly, one of them did get your number and they were trying to find you that night at the bar.
Did get my number, yes.
But they were like 12. They were so young.
They were probably about 26 or 27. Yes, I did not answer my phone. I did not talk to them ever again, just so we can be clear. My God.
I did get us a special treat in Hickory, and I totally forgot to bring it.
What was it?
So, you know, Bojangles is my go-to. If I'm hungover, I want Bojangles sweet tea and a Cajun filet biscuit. And so we went to this pig farm kind of festival thing while we were there, and they had...
Hold on. Can we go back to the pig farm festival?
I mean,
is it like a fair, or is it like just pigs running around in pig shit and it smells really bad?
So my parents' old neighbors opened up. They've got like this, you know, big farm right outside of Hickory, and they do have pigs everywhere. So it's called Farm Feast. And so they had like a bluegrass band, and you go pet the pigs, and then we had this big fancy
Did they eat
dinner.
The pigs?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I bought some pig meat while I was there.
So you're like petting is it like the lobster thing where you select your own lobster and then you put it in the boiling pot water?
Farm to table.
You go and you pet the pig, and then you're like, actually, this one looks pretty good. I'm going to take Sally's rump right here.
I had a talk with the boys about it. I was like, just so y'all know, I know you love petting these pigs, but these aren't the same pigs that we're going to eat later, but these are where the pigs come from that make our bacon.
We killed its mom. is what you just said.
I did.
Jesus Christ.
She was a nice
That is
fat
a
mama.
life lesson.
It's sad. Like, and it creeped them out a little bit, but they got over it after they had some bacon.
They ate bacon, didn't they?
Bacon fixes everything.
It's delicious.
So good.
You know, I have all the pets, like a chick. I mean, I do still eat chicken, but only because I don't think that they're that bright. But like, so I've got Blanche, my fancy chicken.
There's not going to be a Chickens
She's
Unite
really
movement.
fluffy. God, there could be a Chickens Unite movement. I hope not, though. We're in real trouble. But so I've got Blanche, my fancy silky chicken that walks around my backyard and free ranges because her sisters were killed. But I still eat chicken, but I can't get a baby pig, like a potbelly pig. I would love to get a potbelly pig, but I love bacon and I love barbecue pulled pork and sausage and all of the shit. And I can't sit there and be like, you know, talking to Wilbur in my fucking kitchen and like cooking bacon. It just stresses me out. I can do it with Blanche because I don't think she's smart enough to figure it out. But
yeah, I think it would be super hard. Oh, but so while we're there, they have this cool like booze, you know, like a bunch of locally sourced North Carolina breweries, but they had hard Bojangles sweet tea. So it's like,
what is it made with?
I mean, it might be a malt beverage that tastes like Bojangles sweet tea.
Colt 45.
It is. And it's in a giant can. And so I brought us two, and I totally forgot to bring them today.
Damn it.
So maybe in the episode where we're doing our funny comments, we can drink funny drinks that we
or you can just bring it to the office.
Summer.
I'll try it tomorrow. If I have to. Before you leave town, sounds good.
But yeah, so I'll bring that sometime soon.
God, that's hysterical. Did you tasted it? It was good? Did it taste like sweet tea?
Yeah, with malt liquor.
It was gross.
It's kind of weird.
It was not delicious.
I think maybe with the lemon over crushed ice.
We're going to make it we're going to church it up. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm down for that. Maybe with like a little bit of vodka in it.
Yeah, I'll just add more vodka.
Okay.
To balance out the malt liquor.
I'm in for that.
Maybe.
Balance out the malt liquor. Speaking of, have you ever had like a Truly or a White Claw or something and then put vodka in it? Like use that as a mixer? Because I have.
But I heard that, what's it called? A sidecar? No, what's that
I don't
called?
know, but it turns into like a clown car. Like by the time you've had two of those, you are like wrecked. It's not appropriate. So I would say stick to one or the other, maybe not use both.
We know we've got auto tours coming up in Charleston. Maybe that could be
Our poolside drink? Just a little poolside
to kick off the day.
vodka White Claw mix, and I'm sure it'll be fine. So you're going to be speaking at Auto Tours on workers' comp.
I am, yes.
And what is the topic that you're speaking?
So on Friday, I'll be talking about overlapping auto workers' comp claims.
We have a lot of those.
We do. That's kind of what we love to do. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is that if someone is in an auto accident that was not their fault, and if they were acting in the course and scope of their employment, you can get workers' comp to pay for the
all your medical,
emergency room bills, get them to pay for lost time from work. And then it makes their PI case move a lot smoother.
And you end up with a lot more money at the end because you're not having to pay back insurance or providers.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we're going to talk about how to identify if an auto accident does also have a workers' comp claim involved, and then also talk about subrogation, which for those of you that are like, what is subrogation? That is when one party who has paid for benefits has a right to come back and seek a recovery. And so the subrogation for workers' compensation carriers in Georgia is pretty light.
It's very light. So, which is actually, I know we talk a lot about how bad the workers' comp system is in Georgia and things like that, but this is actually a flip side. If you've got a PI case, in a lot of states, the personal injury or the liability carrier can come back and ask to subrogate against the workers' comp. So the payments that have been made. Now, you can't do that in Georgia. So work comp can't pay all of the stuff.
And then ask for money back.
And then ask for money back for it, which is fantastic.
It's called
news.
the made whole doctrine. I'll be talking some about that and about subro. And then another thing that we, and we'll talk a little bit about this when our next guest, Jessica, is on, but talking about kind of tort reform and how it's important that, as tort reform topics come up, making sure that workers' compensation attorneys are also involved in those conversations. Because, for example, subrogation, if we were ever to agree on the workers' comp side to any changes with regard to subrogation, that would severely impact our trial lawyer friends.
Severely.
So just making sure that those lines of communication are open. So that's what we're going to talk about.
So I would say probably, it has been very, very limited cases of mine, and they're usually when a workers' comp case has paid, like $500,000 or $1 million, like something like horrendously catastrophic injuries, and paid huge bills that they will go after the PI settlement to try and get some of the money back. But I'm telling you, like, even when they paid that much, like, sometimes they'll just negotiate it down to, like, just take
$1,000 or something.
Yeah, or take, like, $25,000 if they've paid $1 million. Like, because they know they're not going to get it back because there is no made whole doctrine.
No, and I can't remember the name of the case, but I will remember it Auto Torts. But there was a 2022 Court of Appeals case that basically continued to support the fact that the made whole doctrine is in place. And unless you can prove someone recovered completely from both workers' comp and personal injury, which really can only be done by a jury saying so, that there is no recovery.
Does not get to subrogate. Yeah, so it's actually one of the benefits in our laws. Shocking.
One of few. One of like 5 benefits.
We don't have many. So that will be in Charleston, and you are going to be speaking. That'll be lovely. So I know that we've talked about it on the show before, Georgia Trial Lawyers Association. It is all the plaintiff lawyers in the state that specialize in personal injury. Workers' comp is a subset of that. So there are a lot of work comp attorneys that go down there. And if you do both, then you get to go and learn.
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to be great. Looking forward to it.
That's my old stomping grounds.
Yes, you lived in Charleston.
I did. So I'm kind of curious to see if the places that were cool when I was there are still cool. I'm sure they're not because
What kind of restaurants do they have down there that are good?
All the seafood. We'll be up in the Wild Dunes area. So Obstinate Daughter is on Sullivan's.
Okay.
Poe's is on Sullivan's. They have amazing cheeseburgers. And
I like cheeseburgers.
Yeah, it's right by my old house.
Okay.
Super
Where
fun.
you had the disco ball?
Disco ball and 2 karaoke machines. Yep.
2? Like, would you?
We had competing.
Did you have like Battle of the Bands karaoke? God damn it! Why weren't we friends then?
I mean, I've got a karaoke machine now, don't you?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, okay. I guess
Why can't we just do this in our house down there?
I mean, you know what? We probably should.
Yeah. I've actually got like disco balls as well that I used at Hayden's karaoke party. So I think we can recreate Sullivan's Island 2001 to 2003.
Well, we have a golf cart down there too. So can we hang a disco ball from our golf cart?
Yeah. I don't see why not.
It's going to be magical.
It's going to be epic. Well, so our next guest that's coming on in just a few minutes, Jessica Burke, will also be down there with us at GTLA.
Yes. Love Jessica. She's one of our best friends. She's fresh out of Colorado, and she is a phenomenal skier.
Absolutely. Yeah, she's a newbie to Atlanta, but she is the vice president at Omni and is in charge of attorney relations.
Which she's very good at. She is very social and kind and smart and lovely, and also not bad on the eyes, obviously. But she is probably one of the best skiers that I've ever met personally. She and I skied the whole time together on our last ski trip, and we had so much fun on that day where it dumped so badly. It was like almost like pouring rain.
It was crazy.
Oh, it was awful. And then we just went up top of Bachelor Gulch and just, I don't know, drank for 4 hours because it was really wet.
I skied with you briefly. It was exhausting. I just went and took shots. I was like, I'm going to take a break.
We're done with this now.
My legs hurt so bad.
So I'm so excited for her to come. So she will be joining us to talk about all of that stuff.
Absolutely. So we'll be back in just a few minutes. Welcome back to Lawyers and Libations. We are so excited to have our girlfriend Jessica Burke with us today. Hi, Jessica.
Hi.
Welcome. We love you.
I love you.
Thanks.
I'm honored to be here.
We are so happy to have you here. In fact, you are, just so everyone knows, it was Jessica who came up whenever we were on a ski trip that she was coming up with the name Libations. So for the podcast, she actually has a very vital contribution to where we are today.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
It was probably after some libations.
It was probably after
lots of
libations.
I think it should be libations.
And it was perfect. Who knew?
There we go.
Well, so you brought us a fun libation. What is this?
Yes. Well, I figured because we all love a good espresso martini.
Some more than others.
More than others. Meaning me and Rebecca only. But it's also hot as balls out. So
It is hot as balls.
Frozen
Thank you.
rendition.
Oh, it smells so good.
An espresso martini.
It does.
And I think it's really strong. So I apologize in advance.
Oh, it's delicious. Is it homemade? Tell us what is in this delicious espresso martini.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. That is some.
It's vodka some Tito's, and espresso, some frozen espresso. Made it in an ice cube tray, and Kahlua.
You are so cute.
Yum.
I know.
Like, you are just so cute.
And I like that it doesn't have cream, so I feel like
Yeah, no
it's kind
cream.
of low calorie-ish other than the Kahlua.
Super healthy, I think.
Beach
I'm
Body
not a
101.
doctor,
Light.
but I think my doctor would say.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
Oh my God,
cheers,
it's
ladies.
delicious.
This
Cheers.
It is really,
So did
really
you blend
good.
it up?
Mhm.
And you traveled?
I traveled with. We have these wonderful, like insulated shaker mugs.
Ooh.
Some Omni insulated.
You
Look
are
at your
so cute.
corksicle. Can you hold that up for the camera? I want a corksicle.
Me too. Where the hell do you get that?
I don't know, corksicle.com.
Okay. I'm like,
Oh.
maybe they have them at
It's
Marshalls
very-
or something.
Let's exchange those for Christmas.
Yeah, that sounds
Or
good.
we
Those are
should get them
cute.
For auto tours.
Ooh.
They're a great
see, now
beach
you're
bag.
thinking.
See, I got it for tennis because we mostly, we play tennis and then we drink.
You play
So,
tennis?
I play
Ugh.
tennis. Not well.
Well, she plays tennis too. You guys could play tennis
Yeah.
together.
Well, I just kind of started back. I played for a long time as a kid, but mainly because the instructors were so hot.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I actually learned.
I now know where Hayden gets this.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Whew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I first moved to Atlanta, I needed to make friends because I didn't know anybody, and I moved right like 20 days before COVID. So
No, that's terrible.
it was not fun.
No.
But the one girl that I knew was on a tennis team, and she kind of bamboozled me into joining an Alta team, which I didn't know what that was, but I hadn't.
Wait, isn't that really good tennis?
It is, yes. And I bought a racket at Walmart, and I was under the impression we would just
Ob.
be
Drinking.
And I ended up being on like a B league, and I had no.
Oh, and these women in Atlanta do not joke around about their tennis.
I
like,
mean, it's
working
like a
people
cult
don't
following.
play.
It's
Yeah.
kind of psycho. So, I certainly didn't make friends because I was good at tennis, but it has,
It was your corksicle backpack.
it was my court.
They're like,
It was my,
fine, we'll
really
keep
good
her.
Every
drinking
time they'd see you
abilities.
come out, they'd be like, God bless Jessica.
She sucks,
Thank
but
God
she's fine.
here today.
I
what
think
did she
she's
make us
playing
to
with a
drink?
children's racket. Like, what is happening?
So one of the things that I love about you is that you are a relative newbie to Atlanta, but you seem just completely like
At home.
natural, like you've been here forever.
Love it.
Where were you before you came here?
I was in Denver, so I'm born and raised in Denver. And
Well, and that was one of the ways that I met you was because through our workers' comp personal injury contacts, Mac and Stephanie out there.
Yes.
They said, our friend Jessica is moving to Atlanta. I was
She
like,
needs friends. Please.
yeah,
hang
they're
out
like,
with her.
please hang out with her and meet her. And I was like, okay, she seems nice. And COVID hit.
Yeah.
See you in 2 years.
Yep. See, the trial lawyer connections run deep.
Yes. they
But-
We should have
do.
kidnapped you because we only hung out together for like the first 6 months of COVID.
Yeah, that's true. We
know.
would
That
walk
would've-
around Capital City Club. It's hot as balls then, too.
So hot.
Terrible.
Oh,
It's always hot.
Yeah.
That's my least favorite part of Atlanta. Like this, from like now until
September.
August. Yeah, mid-September. I really am like
it's so hot.
too hot, too
It's
humid.
fucking brutal.
I'm out.
Yeah.
So which do you like more, Denver or Atlanta?
I think it's hard. They're very different.
And be careful how you answer that.
I know. Honestly,
Think about your audience. How many people from Atlanta will be listening versus Denver?
It's true. Honestly, I will get a lot of shade from this from my Denver clients, but I really feel like I'm here to stay in Atlanta. It took me a while to get there.
We win.
Yes, but I mean, obviously, Denver, you have the mountains. That is the
It's
hardest
beautiful.
thing.
It's so
beautiful.
great.
It's nice to just like hop in the car, take a sick day, go skiing.
I was
miss
talking
that.
about your skiing in the intro because you are a fantastic skier. Like, I'm a pretty good skier. I ski blues and blacks, but like Jessica skis hella skiing. She'll like go out there and go like backwoods, and I'm like, well, where are you going?
I know.
I'm not doing that.
You guys have got to like stop this bit because I mean, I grew up skiing. I'm a good skier.
You are a
I
very
will
good
own that,
skier.
but I'm not a great skier.
Well,
but I love
no,
it.
you're not like a competitive skier in the sense you're going out and like competing for medals, but you can absolutely, like if someone was like, I'm going to take you on a helicopter and we're going to the backwoods, I'd be like, you can go fuck yourself. I don't want to die today. I'm not interested. I already tore my ACL skiing in Canada. I'm too old. You would be like, sure. What time are they picking me up?
No, in fact, ladies, I think this is a really good goal for us to set for maybe our 2025 ski trip.
Hella skiing?
Hella skiing. Or maybe a cat
Does that
ski
give me 2 years?
I don't
Yes, that
think
gives you
this
two
is a
Because
good
I'm
idea.
like skier. I'm fine. Sorry, Mom, Dad. I do way better when I'm like slightly high. I feel like I'm a little bit more adventurous.
See, I think we could
very
do cat
helpful.
skiing. That's a good like intermediate spot.
Well, as long as I don't
you
have
to jump out of the helicopter.
I was actually kind of dating another Argentinian guy at one point in time.
Seems like it's a trend.
Apparently, I have a thing for these Argentinians. Anyway, so Juan from Colorado is like backcountry ski instructor, ski extraordinaire. And when I am like watching his Instagram stuff, and he hikes, right? Because I guess that's what fit young people do, is they hike up mountains and then they ski down it for the fresh powder. Fuck
Yeah, that's
that.
terrible. Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
No.
I'm too old, but
Yeah,
I will.
Honestly, I'm out on that.
If my lift doesn't take me to where I need to go, maybe it's God's way of telling me I don't need to go there.
And ideally, there's a watering hole at the top of said lift for me to have an espresso martini.
you. Not at where they go. All you have is your camel pack,
Yeah,
right?
no, I don't
and
like
then
that.
you're just like sucking water
like
down.
that.
It's terrible.
Yeah, and also you're so hot on the way up there.
Oh,
yeah.
fuck
Yeah.
that. I hate that.
I'm out on that.
But you also, what I like about your ski style is you clearly look like you know what you're doing, but you're not really a bitch about it. Like you walk into some people they just have on too much gear and they just have like the certain swagger. Like you're just like,
No,
yeah,
she's
I'm a good
smooth. She's
skier.
like, do, 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 do,
Yep.
do, do,
I mean,
do.
like,
She's
you
like
look
down.
like
I'm
you were
like,
made to
hey, okay,
ski.
let's go have a drink. Ba, 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 ba.
Thanks, lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had so much fun though. I loved skiing with you, and we will be doing it again this year.
I can't wait.
Absolutely.
Counting down the days.
So my husband and I love Denver. He goes there a lot for work. And I have said that's my one city. Don't get mad, Sarah. But if they were like, you have to move to Denver, I would be like, fine. Okay, I'll figure out a way to work in Denver and Atlanta. Because I love the whole area. I love all the national parks.
Yeah.
And I think it would be so fun for the kids. But we had some great restaurants while we were there, but we had our kids with us, so it wasn't that fun. Where do you like to go eat and drink in Denver?
Restaurants. My absolute favorite is Tavernetta. It's this really great Italian restaurant.
I'm like, is that Italian? I love
Sarah loves Italian.
Love Italian.
Should we
my
go?
favorite.
Should we go through Denver next time we go out there and have a Denver night?
We could say
Denver's fun. Sarah, the guys are hot.
They are hot.
It's just so much further than flying into Eagle. If we're so if we just have to go to a different ski
Depends on
place
where we
than
ski. Yeah.
Beaver Creek or
Yeah.
Would you be open to the discussion?
Yes.
It's a work
Of course, yeah,
we
fine
could network
if I
with
have
Mac and
to.
Stephanie.
We can go to Mac with Stephanie. Yes. See, Yep,
Yeah.
I'm in.
There you go.
Fine.
See?
My cousin lives there.
Always be working. Networking.
I know. Well,
Spreading the brand.
Chop, chop, little chickens. Keep working.
Yes, Tavernetta is amazing. You guys have to go there, and they also have a wine bar next door I think it's called Sunday Vinyl. That place is fab. My old school favorite is called Barolo Grill, which is in Cap Hill / Congress Park area. And that's fab as well. It's kind of like American. I guess also Italian. Are you
love
getting
Italian.
theme? I only eat Italian food.
No wonder
American
y'all
or
like each
Italian.
other.
Those are like
Yeah.
my only two. I'm
I
like,
know.
shit's delicious.
And Sushi Den, I know people are like, why would I eat sushi in Denver?
In
But
the
Sushi
mountains.
Den is phenomenal. It's very good. I mean, it would compete with Umi. I would say Umi's better, but it's competitive.
Really?
quite
that
good,
far
yes.
inland?
Oh yeah,
Jesus,
I
who
mean,
knew?
they ship it all in fresh.
Well, why don't let's do a little research for our next ski trip.
Fine.
do it.
If I
I'm
have
in.
to, I'll go.
I mean, Sarah, what the worst that could happen is you meet some hot
was
guy
gonna
from Denver
Probably
who
Argentinian.
already has an epic pass and he's just going to come ski with you.
You're
Or
not
even
wrong.
Better,
We do like
maybe
the
he
epic
has-
pass. It is very
He has
helpful.
a mountain house that he just happens to invite
what
us
was that?
to.
Oh
Steve.
man, I loved that guy. He was 95.
Oh, that's whose house we went to.
Yeah, we
I
did that.
I fell asleep because I was tired and I'd had drinks.
You
and-
didn't go?
Oh, yeah, she
No,
didn't
I
come. It
didn't
was
go.
just,
He got
Yumi and Diana.
he got mad at me for not
yeah,
attending.
he was
but
angry.
Diana and I took those bliss pills before we went, so I couldn't speak the whole time.
you just sat there giggling. I heard. Yes. No, I
Yes.
napped, which is the
okay.
theme of most of my trips. I nap. I'm a
Since-
napper.
65-year-old man eating pizza.
He might have been 85.
It was festive. He loved you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
He's a family friend.
He's a family friend.
Yeah,
But
so
loved you
not
in
in
a
that,
fatherly way, not in
not
a
in that
creepy
weird,
way.
Not in a creepy
creepy way.
But you could tell that he had
Yes.
big feelings.
Yeah.
He was lovely. So nice. But yes, it would be great to find somebody with a mountain house in Colorado. Fine.
There you go.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about Omni. So y'all do medical funding for personal injury cases. Where are you guys located? Is it cross country?
Yeah, so we are full service medical and pre-settlement funding. We have a full medical provider network in 9 states currently. So Colorado, Arizona, Nevada, Texas, Florida, although we're not funding there anymore. Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Massachusetts.
How did you get into the business?
Yes.
What is your tie to all of these crazy people that we work with?
I came in a little bit of a non-traditional way. So I just graduated from the University of Colorado, and I was taking a gap year between undergrad and law school. And my dad and mom at the time were running a funding company called Injury Finance. They'd had it for 11 years, and they were growing a lot and having just a really hard time with staffing and turnover. So my dad...
You're like, I'll help. I can do this.
It was a little bit like, you're going to come work for me while you're taking this gap year. And so I, started like answering the phones, and then I worked in accounting, and then I did case management, and I was horrible at that. Didn't love it. And then a position opened up on the sales team about 7 or 8 months after I'd been there. And I loved it. And then I ultimately made the decision that I didn't want to go to law school because
Very smart decision.
Probably wise decision. Narrator, smartest choice she ever made.
Well, I was like working with lawyers day in and day out, and honestly, like 85% of them, probably closer to 90, really encouraged me to not go. And then I realized, I think I never really thought about being in sales, but our industry is very B2B, very client-facing, very network heavy, and I just love meeting people. I'm super extroverted, so that is how I got in. And then I just celebrated my 9-year anniversary.
Congratulations. And your brother is in the business too, right?
Yes. He joined the company in 2019, and he does like all of our IT development currently. He is our chief information officer at Omni.
I met him at Johnny's when you were out of town.
Yes, he
was lovely.
Johnny's
love
is
this
his favorite
shit.
place in Atlanta. Johnny's is
It's
my
oddly
entire...
enough, it's Rebecca's too.
And
That's
mine.
so strange. Who knew?
That's why we're friends.
It is.
Every time my sales team from Denver comes into town, they're like, "When can we go to Johnny's?" They
Right
just, like,
now.
We
plan
met
their whole night.
y'all at 9 p.m. Like
Yeah.
it was
Well,
early.
P.S. They're also open for lunch, just so we're clear. So
I
if
tried
you
to
need
get-
to get in,
Yeah,
they just
tried to
don't have a
open it
DJ, but they have delicious chicken fingers.
I know.
They do.
Maybe we need to do that.
So what's the scoop, if you're allowed to say, on why y'all are not in Florida anymore?
Yes. So we primarily just did pre-settlement funding in Florida, but recently in this legislative session, they passed some pretty tort reform-y legislation that essentially basically takes funding out of the equation.
So can you explain, just for our listeners, because if they're not PI lawyers and they're just normal people, how does pre-settlement funding help our clients?
So essentially, pre-settlement funding is they can use the funds to cover any of their daily living expenses. And I think a lot of people have a negative connotation about it, but a lot of folks who are injured in accidents have lost their cars. They can't pay their rent. They maybe lose their jobs because they can't.
I have clients who get arrested because they can't pay child support.
Right.
So yes.
And, just for any daily living expenses. We can also use it to cover copays and deductibles because for the average person getting in an accident when it's not planned, to come out of pocket 8-10 grand is impossible. So
Right.
that's how
Most people don't have that emergency fund set aside.
Yes, a large majority.
Yes. So your company will come in and help. Say if I've suffered in a bad car accident or something, I'm hospitalized for like a month and I don't have short-term disability or disability at all for anything. You all can help by giving me a pre-settlement, which means it's before I would settle my case, check
Yes.
to help me with my expenses so I don't lose my house or my car or get arrested
Yeah.
for not paying
Even
child
like
support.
buy your kids
Buy your
gifts at
groceries.
Christmas,
Christmas gifts.
You could use it for anything, but it's definitely much needed.
So did Florida essentially eliminate the ability to do that in that tort reform?
So right now in this, I'm being told in the next legislative session, they're going to have, there's a bill coming up for pre-settlement specifically, but on the medical funding side, this session they passed a law that essentially says any person who doesn't have health insurance, the only medical bills that they're going to be able to submit is going to be capped at 120 to 140% of Medicare. Don't quote me on that, but I think 140 is the high end. And that is, I guess for the listeners, Medicare reimbursement is not quite as criminal as Medicaid, but it's horrible.
It's horrendous.
And, you know, for a company like ours, that effectively, I mean, that's basically what we paid for the bill. So that kind of eliminates that whole line of funding. And I think the other scare of that is any provider that traditionally held a direct lien for people who didn't have health insurance now will likely pivot, because why would they make, you know, 5
pennies on the dollar
of what they made originally.
And so in Georgia, and I'm sure a lot of other states, it's the same thing. So it's the collateral source rule. So essentially, if you have a jury trial, you cannot get in the actual paid amount for the medical bills. It's the retail cost of the medical bills.
Yeah.
And so
for the jury to
hear. So they can't hear, I've got health insurance, and even though the bills were $100,000, my health insurance paid
15.
Yeah, 15. And so that's so you can kind of establish your damages based on what the retail pricing is. So what I understand that you guys have worked hard in Colorado to help kind of, protect yourselves and under that collateral source rule. What have y'all done there with regard to tort reform?
Yeah, so we are, our former company as well as Omni, we're super active in legislating, in all the different states that we work in. But in Colorado, we introduced a bill that ended up getting passed into legislation in 2021. It's called the Healthcare Provider Lien Bill. And essentially, it was a consumer protection bill. So obviously, we wanted to protect our interests, right, of being able to, we didn't necessarily define ourselves as a collateral source, but we have this carve out to say that the paid amounts cannot be allowed into evidence at a trial, which is so important. And I have a good example of, why that can be damaging. But in addition to that, we added a number of consumer protection clauses, like we can't pursue a client for the full bill in the event of non-recovery. So if they lose that trial or, they get a bad offer, we can't balance bill them.
Right.
Which seems like common sense, but a lot of companies do that.
Right.
We also have to.
It's fair though. It makes sense. Like
exactly.
if you're gonna invest in the case, you're gonna think that the case has some merit. I feel like that's part of the
you all are
intake
taking
process.
a risk.
It also says we can't, sell our interest to another party. And there's a number of other things, but it took us 3 years to get that passed. It's really challenging to get legislation passed.
And you and I spoke some yesterday. What was the situation that happened with you guys the year before this all passed?
So we had this huge case. It was actually, ironically, the largest case that we've ever funded at the company, and kind of almost like a textbook plaintiff, I guess, if you will. It was an undocumented worker, and he was not injured on the job, but he had no health insurance, no payer benefits, not even Medicare, Medicaid, and he was just annihilated by a 18-wheeler and required 4 surgeries. I think the final medical bills on the case, the ticket price was like $680,000. Accident happened in a very conservative county. We had a number of challenges with this judge over the years, and was kind of the spur of why we wanted to start this legislation. But it was, they just were, we had a terrible defense lawyer on the other side that was just demanding, all of our contracts, paid amounts, et cetera. As fate would have it, the trial was not grandfathered into the new bill, and it happened 1 week after the new legislation passed.
Oh, God.
And all of our paid amounts were allowed into evidence, and the jury ended up awarding less than the statutory offer. And so effective, he got no money. And, right now we're actually still in the process of wondering whether or not we're going to appeal, but obviously they charged for defense lawyers' fees. But the facts of the accident were straightforward, right? I mean, he got creamed. There's no disputed liability, but the challenge with, and this is where I think when my dad started the company, he saw that this underserved population of people who need medical care, who can't access it, not because of their own fault,
any fault of their own, right?
That's where this poor man had to be. 6 years of his life was spent in and out of surgeries, lost his job, lost, everything. And his life was destroyed. And then, you spend 6 years in litigation and then you walk away with $0.
Nothing.
Well, and what's frustrating and so sad for him is that but for injury finance at the time or some type of group that comes in and helps him, he doesn't have the money to get the surgery, so he just doesn't get them. Right? Like,
Correct.
It's not like, of course, you're going to get your emergency treatment, but it's not like a doctor is going to voluntarily take on, any type of surgery that's not emergency.
Right.
Unless they're just doing it under the kindness of their heart. Right. Like,
And that's,
that doesn't happen.
most doctors aren't going to lean up for surgeries. And that's,
No.
I mean,
no.
even here, right? And
No.
And so I think that tort reform rhetoric is so dangerous because the average human, no matter what side of the political aisle you're on, I find it really hard to believe that anybody could say, like, this man didn't deserve to be compensated for something that he didn't cause.
Right. Or deserve to have the surgeries. Like,
Exactly. Right. And it's just our industry has always had a big target on its back. All of personal injury does, just because the insurance lobbyists are so powerful. But funding specifically gets this, really
Bad rap.
And I think for the most part, there's tons of bad actors. There is in any industry. But the people that do it the right way, we do provide a valuable service.
Absolutely.
In those types of scenarios. So, when laws like what just happened in Florida happen, I mean, that's certainly a concern, right? That what states are going to replicate that and how many people are going to lose access to necessary treatment, how many people are just not going to pursue claims because they have no option.
Right. Well, I always find it so fascinating too. Nobody really likes lawyers until you need one.
Exactly.
Right? And same type of thing, right? Like somebody might say, well, a funding company, well, I mean, if you can't pay your bills, you have somebody that's actually going to be able to help you. I've got a client right now at workers' comp, because for workers' comp cases in Georgia, unlike personal injury cases, we cannot sign a letter of protection where we say, okay, if we settle, we're going to go ahead and pay this out. It's actually in our statute. In my professional opinion, it is a violation of my client's right to contract. So I think it's a load of shit.
Rule 84.
I will be very clear on the record of that. But that is actually in our comp statute. So when you have clients that are taking out payday loans, right, or their title loans that are, at something like 75% interest or something, just something absurd, because they can't. I mean, I've got 2 clients living out of their cars right now. They are injured. Absolutely. They are out of work.
Not their fault.
It's not their fault. They don't make enough money to even afford rent. Right. So, I mean, he's living outside. I mean, and now he can't drive his car because he can't pay his insurance. So the fuckery that goes on, again, everybody hates insurance or hates funding companies and hates lawyers until you actually need them. And it's interesting, too, in what you would consider, so Georgia is obviously considered more of a purple state now in the elections nationally. But in the actual state legislature, it is as red as rare meat, right? I mean, and those are the ones that are the, groups that are passing the tort reform bills and stuff. So, again, everybody hates lawyers as much as they can. Georgia trial lawyers have mounted a significant effort alongside the funding companies to make sure that our clients still have access to care.
Right. And that's why it's so important to join organizations like that. And, for us, we can't be members, but we sponsor all of the trial lawyers associations in the states that we work in at the highest level because the lobbying component is so crucial, right? And the reality is that a lot of the associations, GTLA is a little different. They have a huge, they raise so much money with their PAC, which is amazing. But a lot of states that we work in just don't, right? We do a lot of business in Tennessee, and we have somewhat favorable laws, but it's really challenging. It's an uphill battle every year. So that's, we have to be very involved and have our finger on the pulse.
So speaking of involved, we'll be with you down in Charleston for Auto Torts.
I can't wait.
We're very excited.
It's going to be super fun. I will probably
My
not be
favorite
drinking
event
a
of
lot
the
of these at the pool. Good grief. It'd
Yeah.
probably interfere with my nap, too.
I
I'm just
mean.
saying.
And I did
Damn it.
text, I have a Charleston bestie, Blakely, who just started doing plaintiff's work. And so she'll be down there. I want you to meet her.
Oh, yes.
But I've texted her to find out the best restaurants.
My
in
best
the
girlfriend,
area.
Carla,
Yeah.
lifelong, lives also in Charleston.
we're gonna have a great
oddly
time.
enough.
So fun.
So
It's
it is going
one
to
of
be
my
fun.
favorite cities in the world.
It's
Favorite
not
conference
bad.
ever?
Mm-hmm.
It'll be very pretty. So, where are you staying? Are you staying at the hotel or are you staying in a house? Okay.
We got a house. We have an extra bedroom if you want to come hang with the
Maybe I'll
girls.
cry.
Yeah, I'm like, you can probably come stay.
It'll be
with
totally
us.
fine.
You can- you have
We're right on the intercoastal.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I've
We have
never
a
been
golf
to Wild
cart.
Dance.
I'm like, we have a
Sounds
golf
great.
cart.
Yeah, we have a golf cart. Yep. There are
Sounds
gators.
Dangerous.
Probably.
Yep.
Probably.
No, I
But it'll
can't
be
wait.
fun.
And you're
So-
speaking.
I
I
am.
can't. I didn't even know that.
Oh, yeah. It'll be riveting.
I'll make a
It
sign.
will be riveting.
It will be good.
Absolutely.
It'll be good.
She is talking about the nexus between car accidents and workers' comp cases and the benefits to that. So.
But part of what kind of piggybacking on what you were just saying about GTLA and the PAC, part of what we're going to be talking about, as well as communication between GTLA and the workers' compensation group, which Sarah's the president of, because so many times our legislation affects each other. So we're talking about subrogation earlier. So that's part of our presentation is talking about contributing to the PAC and making sure that, like, if anybody's making legislative changes, that we know what everybody's doing to make sure it's not like screwing up one person's area.
Yeah. So we
Because
have,
we're all friends. We're all on the same side.
absolutely. And you know, the new president of the Georgia Trial Lawyers Association is Madeline Simmons, who's one of our dearest best friends. And so she and I have already spoken about like making sure that we're like doing lobbying together and talking to the legislators together and on the same
Oh, yeah.
page.
So important.
So
Also, how awesome is that? 2 female presidents.
I know it's pretty
Who are
fun.
best friends.
Actually, I know who are best friends. It's pretty. It's good. It's
Smart
it's
lady lawyers
good time
everywhere.
to be a woman right now. By God.
Absolutely.
You'll get so much more done.
Unless you say the word fuck, then you can be absolutely torn apart live on the
Don't
internet.
do
I'm like-
it,
I'm
Sarah.
absolutely-
Worldwide interweb.
I'm absolutely here for the like. I love that.
I'm
Jimmy
just
Kimmel.
saying, I think they clearly have small penises.
Obviously.
You're welcome.
Probably.
Most do.
They're definitely intimidated
like-
by smart women.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm sorry, I'm not in the kitchen.
We deal with this every day.
No, we
We're in a
re-
male-dominated
we actually
industry.
do. I mean,
explain.
80, I would say 80% of the trial lawyers that have firms and stuff, I would say that they're men. I would say probably 90% of the orthopedic surgeons that we deal with for our
99.
clients.
Yeah, I was gonna say like.
Okay,
I can think
99.
of 3 female
I
orthopedic
know
surgeons
3
in Atlanta.
female
Can you
orthopedic
imagine the
surgeons.
country? They're probably
14.
none.
Yeah.
Like-
So, yeah, no, there's definitely none. And you're right, in Atlanta. So it is an extraordinarily male-dominated arena. And I love it when strong, intelligent women come into it and kill it. So we are proud to know you. And we're glad to have you here from Denver joining us.
Cheers to strong, smart women.
Absolutely.
Who like espresso martinis.
like us.
Also, Sarah's almost done with hers, so
Right? That's not
she's
like
hating
her.
on it. But
God, everybody's
She likes it more than she
just
thought
gonna
she would. She's not
talk
going to be a
shit.
hater anymore.
I mean, I'm gonna be wide awake for dinner later.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Yeah,
you
having
guys for joining us for Lawyers and Libations, episode 10.
Episode 10.
Woo!
Woo.
Double
We made it
digits.
through a
I know.
decade
of
cast.
whatever it is. A lot of fucking episodes. A lot
But
of
thank you guys
F-bombs.
for joining us. Check us out on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast, or YouTube if you want to see us on video. It's kind of awkward, but
Stay cool.
I'm warming up to it.
Cooler out there.
Yeah.
Don't pass out in the heat, for God's sake.
all right. Cheers.
Cheers.